This video is all about how to create Alaskan art with clay, inspired by Corso graphics. You will need a few materials. Find a piece of cardboard, you're welcome to paint it or color it, we'll talk about that. Make yourself a batch of homemade clay, find some paper, get some scissors, glue, and coloring supplies if you would like to paint your clay once it's dry. Create anything you want with your clay, but this tutorial will focus on the Xtratuf boot idea or a bouquet of flowers. These can be modified for young children to make by simply making the project smaller. If you're not sure how to draw a pair of boots, there's a template you can print out in Canvas. Alright, let's do some Alaskan art creations here. So this is a pretty big project. I used a pretty large piece of cardboard and some leftover painted paper. I painted my clay, my dried clay, with watercolor, and I'll talk you through some different options if this is a bit too much of a project. So what you're going to do is grab some cardboard, and honestly any size will do. You can kind of tailor it to whatever size you want. And we're going to test out some materials. So if you don't have paint to paint the background of your cardboard with, try out what you do have. I've got some crayons here. I really like how that looks. You could even add a second color of crayon in there. That looks really nice. I've also got some markers. Let's see what markers look like. Again, very nice for decorating your cardboard. You can always leave your cardboard blank, but you know, it's a canvas. So I like to give a little bit of a background. So decide what you want to do if you don't have paint. And again, I just used whatever paint I had around, tempera, acrylic, almost anything will work. So go ahead and create your background. Okay, I've got my background finished. I'm happy with that. I would like to do a pair of Xtratufs. So I've printed out the PDF that's available to you in Canvas. I made sure that I picked a piece of cardboard that these would actually fit on. You can always retrace them to a smaller size. And I have some leftover painted paper from an old project. You could use this template and color it with your crayons or markers. You could trace it onto some brown construction paper. There are a ton of options here for you. I'm going to show you the option of cutting it out and then tracing it onto another piece of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. When it's time to glue, add drops of glue to the perimeter of the back of each object, and then be sure to hold it down a long enough time for the paper to grab the cardboard. Alright, I'm happy with how my cutout boots look. If you would like to do a smaller version of the vase option, you can color your background and cut out a vase shape. Sometimes it helps to fold your paper in half so that you get a symmetrical shape for your vase, and then you can cut whatever shape you want. Like maybe I will cut a bit of a circle here on top and then fan out. Let's see what happens. I like that. Okay, so I could use that as a vase. It's a little too big for my paper, so I might trim it down. Happy. So same process for this. You would color the background, glue this on, and then you have a smaller bite-sized project that you could just do flowers for. Let's talk clay. So think about your space that you have to work with and what items you would like to add to your boots. I have some plain clay here that when dry can be painted. I also made some colored clay with food coloring in it. And again, all you need are the primary colors, and then you can mix any of the secondary or tertiary colors. Remember that any shape you want, any object you want to create can be made Actually, can be made out of 3 clay shapes. So pinch off a little bit of clay and let's just review these 3 shapes. The first shape is a ball or a sphere. And once you have a sphere, you can very easily flatten it into the second shape, which is a slab or a coin or a pancake. So from this shape, you can make all kinds of things. 3rd and 4th graders made hearts from a slab or a coin shape. And the 3rd shape you need to know how to make, from which you can make anything else. So here we go back to our ball. From a ball, you can make a coil. And coils are often more easily done on the table here. Once you have a coil, you can make all kinds of things. That's how I made my fiddlehead ferns, my antlers, and the stem for my mushrooms. So let's just do a fiddlehead fern here really quickly, and you could do this out of your green clay. I just knew I didn't have quite enough there. So I'm just gonna roll my coil up, and there's my fiddlehead fern. So those 3 shapes will create whatever object you would like. Since I only have a tiny little bit of green clay here, let's make a leaf shape in case you want to do a bouquet coming out of your boots. And my clay is fairly sticky. You might want to have some flour on hand. So I'm making a ball. I'm going to flatten it into a slab a little bit. Oh, yep, it's really sticky. And from here, you can pinch and flatten to create whatever shape you wish. So I'm going to make a little leaf shape. And then from this leaf shape, you could use a pencil or the back of a paintbrush and indent to create veins in your leaf, any number of things. This clay will stick like glue and will dry on your cardboard wherever you put it. You'll have a little bit of time to pick it up and rework it, but mostly once you set it down, that's where it's going to stick. And I'm not going to use this clay, it needs more flour in it. It's a little too sticky. If you'd like to make a more complex shape, I recommend starting with a ball, a manageable size, and then flattening it and pinching. So working it into the shape you want. So if you want a fish shape, think about what the fish looks like. Look at a picture of a fish. Look at our example here. It's kind of like a triangle shape for the body, wider at the bottom, skinnier at the top. And as you are working with your clay, try to keep it even. You can kind of pull and manipulate, stretch and pinch all at the same time. And then you can rework that shape once you lay it down onto the cardboard. So I think I want my fish coming out right here. You've got a little bit of time to work that clay before it totally sticks. It will take overnight to dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and fiddle with it here. Can I make my fish shape? Can always remove if it's too much. Now this doesn't have a tail or any of the fins on it yet. While it's wet, I'm gonna do my indents with a pencil or some other object that you can kind of draw. There's the bottom half of the fish. I'm gonna give it some dots. And I can go ahead and make the fins. So think about what your fishy tail looks like. Again, we sort of have a triangle shape, but now there's this concave curve in there. And then convex curve on the bottom. And again, if you come back tomorrow after these have dried and anything has fallen off, so ball and then slab and then pinch and pull. If anything's fallen off, just use a little bit of glue to reattach it to the cardboard. So So again, pinching and pulling until I kind of have an even thickness. You can always lay it down and kind of work it on your surface as well. And I wonder what you have around your house to make the lines in the fishtail. So you can repeat this process for every shape. You don't have to do antlers and mushrooms and here's a forget-me-not and some dogwood. You can do whatever you want on your clay shape, or you could do the bouquet. This is just an idea for you. You might have some other Alaskan ideas that you think your parents would like or that you would like on your wall. When you finish, you might want to put an Xtratuf label here that says something fun like Mom is extra tough. And you could just cut that out of white piece of paper and draw on it with a pencil, Sharpie, crayon, whatever you have, and make your logo there for Xtratuf or part of the personalized gift. All right, so that's kind of the process. And again, for the mini vase, here's the really ginormous one. For a mini one, you could just do a couple little flowers of your choosing. The simplest flower to do, and you could certainly add this to your boots too, is to make a ball and then a coin. So you'll flatten it, or even you could just leave the ball, put it on your paper, and then punch your finger here in the center, or excuse me, push your finger in the center without punching all the way through. So I'm going to pick this up so you can see. I didn't punch it all the way down to the cardboard, but there is a little indent there, like a thumbprint cookie. I'm using the back of my paintbrush to add the center of the flower. So that's a really simple flower that no matter how old or young you are, you might want to add to your bouquet. After your clay has dried, and it will take about 24 hours, make sure that all the pieces are stuck down using a little bit of glue if anything's fallen off. I went ahead and painted my plain clay with watercolor. You can use tempera, acrylic, you can even use crayons or pastels to color it. You could also use the marker trick where you color it with any water-soluble marker and then use a paintbrush with plain water to make it look like watercolor. If you would prefer to make a bouquet instead of Xtratufs, here's the process for the bouquet. We've already talked about how to cut a vase. Your vase shape can be very simple. A parallelogram, a triangle, even just a circle. So go ahead and cut out your vase shape. I'm using painted paper. You could use any paper, construction paper, decorated paper, scrapbook paper, or you could make your own painted paper or paper that's decorated with some other coloring utensil. Be sure to put glue on the back and hold down for long enough for the paper to grab the cardboard. Here are some ideas for flowers you could make. Be sure to keep your clay in plastic until you're ready to use it. The bigger your project is, the longer it will take, and the faster your clay will dry out. Start every shape with a ball. From here you can flatten it into a slab and then create whatever flower shape you wish. Here are some ideas. When your clay is dry and you're ready to paint your flowers, you can use any of the aforementioned items to color. If you're using watercolor, it's a good idea to start with the yellow, your lightest color, so it doesn't get muddy. So I painted the center of all my flowers first and then mixed the rest of my colors. Have fun, get creative.